Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there. Look up at the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a flying mullet. That's right. Welcome back, kids, to another episode of Electric Mullet. You're pretty much in order Superman podcast from burn to the horizon. Anyway, I am Phil. Joining me, as always, if you're watching this on video, I'll let you know because you can't tell from his video. The biggest Superman fan ever, Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Hey, everybody.
And the Owl of Steel himself, Justin the Owl.
Hello, everyone.
And this time we have a special guest coming to you from the Last Sons of Krypton podcast. It is Connor L.
Hello. He's like, I'm not used to people seeing me.
I guess I'm not used to like laid back like Australians because like dealing with Ray so much.
Yeah,
that's a Zod for you, man. That's a Zod.
It's a bit of a jungle without him, to be honest.
More
unhinged each episode. There's no one to hold me back anymore. It's like,
oh no,
crazy. Yeah.
Oh well, he's going on to his other pursuits.
Batman, my favorite character.
Yeah. Stay tuned for his Batman podcast any day, kids.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this time, yes, we are covering. I guess this is the unofficial official title. I've seen it called Future Shock, but I'm like, it's not labeled that anywhere on any issue, and I don't know if it's ever been reprinted under that title. But I swear I've seen people call it Future Shock, and I don't know where that title comes from.
It's odd.
Maybe it's just like
yeah. I never thought. I'd always thought of it as that story where post-crisis Superman met pre-crisis Superboy, which I thought was awesome personally. Because I'm a big pre-crisis fan. It's like my preferred sort of jam, and I liked this story. So take that.
Are you like a big pre-crisis Superboy fan too, or is this just the Superman?
No, more the Superman. But like the thing is, people get really worked up about this story, but I understand getting worked up about it at the time, but now so much time has passed, and, you know, Clark Superboy's back, the Legion's back, like, it's, you know, it's not really a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just take it for what it is, which is, like, a good sort of emotional story, you know, kind of team up 30 years ago.
Yeah, I think people got upset because this was the first time they did it, but you know, however many we've had since then, every time there's a crisis, I think the Legion gets hit the hardest because you know whatever you're changing stuff in the present, then of course the Legion has to deal with the fallout.
Right. I think
it does suck. Yeah.
You know, my thing with this is just trying to keep everything straight because you know we talk about and we've kind of explored that on this podcast is like. Man of Steel wasn't as much of like a hard reboot as people makes it. It gets referenced as, I guess you could say. And this is our first time, like after Crisis, where we were like, no, we're going to get rid of that Superboy stuff. We're slowly like bringing that back in like it happened. And we're acknowledging that the Crisis happened. And I don't want to, I mean, it's an old book, so I'm not really spoiling anything. But there's a character in here that I don't think right now is who it's supposed to be that later gets revealed to be if you're following me.
I don't follow, but we'll see.
Because we have the Time Trapper.
Yeah.
Right. Who later is revealed to be somebody else, but I don't think that's who that is supposed to be right now.
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm trying to remember. When did they reveal? I think don't they reveal that in like 0 hours? So maybe 0 hour monkeys with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's why I blocked it out.
So I was reading all of post-crisis Superman for a couple of years. I went from Burn to, well, to be fair, actually, I went from like my favorite parts of Pre-Crisis to burn to, but I stopped just before 0 Hour because I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't get through some of that 90s stuff. I want to resume, but it's like a lot. And keeping track of the 4 titles in the Triangle era now, like it was a good idea at the time. But anyway, I stopped just before 0 Hour, which is a shame because I was pretty keen to check that out because I know it was like one of the bigger events of the 90s. Yeah. Like, I read the crap that was like Millennium, so...
I mean, I don't know if Justin agrees, but yeah, I mean, 0 Hour is better than Millennium and Legends. And
Millennium tie-ins are really good.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
Millennium tie-ins with the Green Lanterns.
Yeah, some of the,
Yeah, not that main series, no.
Anyway, that was my blog post. Hope you enjoyed.
Like you enjoyed my TED Talk. But yeah, I mean, this whole story came about because, they didn't retcon a ton. I mean, when you compare it to the modern stuff, Tyler, it's like they didn't like retcon a ton of stuff, but Byrne did retcon that this Superman was never Superboy. So then all of a sudden, Legion writers like, wait, we have years of Superboy stories. What the?
Yeah.
But depending who you ask, like Byrne either wanted Superboy or he didn't. There's like 2 answers there. So I have no idea which one's true. I'm kind of inclined to think that Byrne wanted Superboy. That's just my take on it. But yeah, you guys probably talked about it in the Man of Steel episode, maybe.
A little bit. I mean, that depending what legend you listen to. Yeah, I mean, I always thought I heard that he didn't want it, but who knows? Because, Byrne here, and then even on the Marvel side, he loves to come in and like sometimes just tweak stuff. Like that. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, this thing that happened in the past, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Right. What really surprised me, this is jumping ahead a bit, but just going back before, is like how this heavily references Crisis, and it's surprising that Superman talks like he was at Crisis.
And that's something
right.
That's something that gets pointed out, like
in
different books, like the characters start to acknowledge they knew something happened because that's how they acknowledge the death and missing of Barry Allen. So they know there was some sort of crisis.
Yeah.
But they don't know the details and what happened and who.
It's almost like right after Crisis, it like some characters kind of remember most of the story. They might not remember the alternate Earths, but they remember most of the story. And then as time goes on, it kind of gets like more general, like, oh, there was some kind of crisis and Barry Allen helped stop the Anti-Monitor, but that's it. But yeah, no one remembers Supergirl or...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he remembers Superboy Prime.
Yeah, here he does. Yeah, but later on he won't. Yeah.
And but he doesn't remember Superboy, and obviously he doesn't remember his own history was altered. So, for the worse. But, No, I just thought I'd put that in there. I'm not one of those people who's still mad about Man of Steel. I'm kind of mad about the legacy of it, but that's another thing. Yeah.
All right. Let's jump into this first story. Like I said, there's no synopsis, so we can kind of walk through this, but here I'll do the credits. Legion of Superheroes, number 37, from August 1987, A Twist in Time, by writer Paul Levitz, penciler Greg LaRocque, inker Mike DiCarlo, colors Carl Gafford, and letterer John Costanza. Okay. Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Compendium, classifies part of this issue as happening on Earth 23. So I don't know if that's the Legion. This Legion is on Earth 23. Who knows?
Oh.
Even though at this point there's supposed to be no multiverse. Yeah.
We got a map thanks to my personal saint, Grant Morrison.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After like Infinite Crisis, and they're like, oh yeah, the multiverse. They bring it back.
But we got a map. It was all mapped out, and then it got ignored like straight away. So who knows? Who knows anymore?
Yeah, but I mean that's always like a losing like proposition there when you're like trying to like map like it's supposedly a like infinite amount of alternate Earths.
Absolutely, but it was done so well. Like I get adding to it, but just like contradicting it and nullifying it like almost immediately afterwards is a bummer.
Well, I think the other thing too is like at first didn't they say, oh, there's only like 52 alternate Earths or something, and then it's I'm sure people were just like, what about this one? What about this story?
And now that's why it became Infinite Earths, and then there was Infinite Multiverse.
Oh yeah, now there's like an omni or there's like there's like an omniverse full of multiverses.
Omniverse, omniverse down here. So
it's so stupid, like it's so dumb, and if people remember Crisis fondly, it's not for the mess that it was. It's for moments like Supergirl and the Flash. So I don't understand why they keep doing these Crisises.
Yeah.
Like, who's into this?
I don't know.
I mean, Supergirl and Barry Allen are both back. I think probably the big reason people remember Crisis so fondly is George Perez art.
The artwork.
If you had a lesser artist on that thing, I don't think that thing would be as touted as it is.
Well, I think it was really fun. Sorry, go on, Tom.
No. I disagree with you, Connor. That's all about the Superman and Barry Allen thing.
Oh, damn! All right.
I think that cover of Superman holding Supergirl and Barry Allen is like when people think of like Crisis, like that's some of the biggest stuff to come out of it. That really
those were pretty huge.
That really held something, So
it held his cousin.
That's what I'm saying. They're like Supergirl and Barry's death. I think are genuinely well done parts of Crisis, and that's why Crisis works as a story for me. And like it's a fun spectacle. Like it's the whole DC universe teaming up. And it's not old hat at that point, So
right, it hadn't been done a million times already.
Yeah.
All right. So this issue. Well, we start in 2987. I hadn't read this previous issue, so So the Legion's, figures out something's wrong and tries to go back. Well, first they try to go to the end of time. The end of time to. Mess with the time, meet with the time trapper, but meanwhile the art shows them going back in time.
I just had to laugh when I saw Sunboy, that's all. Because
I know.
Because me and Solomon watched all of Superman and the Legion, the cartoon series. Like we wrapped that up this year, and we just had a lot of Sunboy jokes. So like when Sunboy popped up, I was like, Sunboy. If you watch that cartoon, you know.
I like the Legion I've read, but this issue reminds me of why I'm generally not into teen books. It's just all the interrelationships going on and the melodrama. It's like, especially when they're like teenagers, that it's like, So I just,
Well, like I know, like when Will and I talked some Legion a couple episodes, like he loves the Legion, and I'm like, the Legion seems pretty cool, but if you haven't been reading Legion since you were like a kid, like it's hard because there's so many members, and now there's been like so many iterations and different versions of the Legion of superheroes, so it's kind of daunting, to get into the Legion at this point.
Yeah, and even 30 years ago, I think there were 3 books, weren't there? There at one point there was Legion of Superheroes, Legionnaires, and Legion 89 or Legion 90 or whatever it was. Like, it was really confusing. And that's one of the reasons I never got into it. Was just because I didn't know what I was reading. I didn't know who was alive, who was dead, what was going on. It was a mess. And when you get into time travel stuff, I mean, it's going to be a little bit confusing to begin with.
The only time I like the Legion is when they appear like in the past. Like they're part of the story from coming from the future, but like I don't want to follow just a Legion story.
Yeah. It was a great story with them fighting the Legion of supervillains. Like, I remember that being really good. There's some great Keith Giffen artwork in there. Like, that was some great stuff. But for the most part, I didn't get into Legion.
There's the other side of the coin. There's, like, Adam from Legion Outpost who hates how much Superboy's involved in the Legion and wants more Legion just on their own without being chained to the Superman mythos, which I understand, obviously.
But I mean, I'm sure that was a tactic to like boost numbers on the Legion book. It's like, oh hey, Superman is / Superboy's in this book, so
yeah. I love the Time Trapper. I think he's a really cool villain.
Yeah, it's a great villain.
Yeah, great
look for the
stuff.
villain.
Yeah,
too.
very mysterious. Yeah.
Great. Looks villain. Almost kind of like Destiny from. What was it? The Greek myth. There was a Greek mythology, maybe a Wonder Woman character called Destiny that had that purple cloak like that, very mysterious with the cowl and everything.
Oh yeah, or even like Death at Marvel. Yeah. But the Legion tries to let's get to the Time Trapper, but they end up in Smallville, which
oops.
Yeah, I don't think they explained that whole thing yet. But yeah, I mean, overall in this story, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but it seems like I think the Legion books, they were trying to say, oh yeah, hey, the Time Trapper kind of saved pre-crisis Earth, especially Smallville, and that's where they were jumping in this pocket universe. Then the Superman stories by Byrne, it just seems like he's like, oh yeah, the Time Trapper just created this Smallville and Superboy
pocket dimension.
Yeah, like it almost seemed like he didn't want to acknowledge that this was pre-crisis Superboy and Smallville, but
that's right.
Yeah.
Because that's where I get confused when this was when he talked about the whole pocket dimension thing that's coming up.
Because I'm like, why mention Red Skies if it's not the pre-crisis Smallville?
Well, it kind of can't be the pre-crisis Smallville because, like, pre-crisis Superman, technically, at the moment, he's post-crisis Superman.
Yeah.
He's got his history changed. So, the whole thing's, it's obviously a mess, that they got this really twisted logic to, it's a pocket dimension and all this stuff to sort of, and that's, like, the only way it can really work within continuity at the time.
Yeah, because there's no alternate Earth. Or, like, even if he time traveled, technically, going back, there is no Superboy. So, yeah, the whole pocket dimension, and I accidentally kind of read them out of order. Like, I read the Legion books last.
Yeah.
So, when Superboy showed up, I was like, this isn't Superboy Prime. I'm like, is it?
No.
And then, so it's not.
Well, there's a lot of, I would say that people, we talk about Byrne and Levitz, but I would say that the editors probably had a pretty heavy hand in the sort of explanation for what's going on here. So
it's kind of like they don't want to acknowledge pre-crisis, but it's like you kind of have.
Well, they don't.
They don't, but it's like you have to kind of deal with a Superboy that's technically kind of like pre-crisis because of the Legion.
Because Legion's still a book, so they've got to tie up that loose end, which is like awful how they handle it. Like Kurt Swan stopped getting work. All the old Superman writers basically just got the boot because the new editor didn't really like Superman. So
messed up.
Yeah,
they wanted like a modern take. Well, it's like at this point there was 3 Superman books and they gave Byrne 2 of them, like writing and art.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. Yeah, and
well,
it was a miserable time for him. So
does he?
Yeah.
But I mean, he was like a hot thing coming from Marvel, and then after this, he goes back to Marvel. But so that was the thing.
And his run is good, and Man of Steel rejuvenated the character somewhat. But I don't think you really needed to kind of annihilate the previous work.
Yeah. No. Well, like I said, he likes to do that sometimes, like either add stuff to a character's history or like just completely change, some version of it. So, yeah, I
like
get.
We saw with one character in this story. Crypto.
And that was interesting too, just having Crypto show up.
I know.
This is definitely.
I was surprised by that.
I mean, it's definitely the writer's like, hey, I miss these characters. Let's just bring them back, and we'll just say it's a pocket dimension.
Totally.
And I mean, that seems to become as time goes on something they do. Like, oh, this person, pocket dimension.
Yeah,
but. Hey, no, this person's not in continuity anymore. You can't write this story. Pocket dimension.
It just seems so. Again, like I said, it's so weird because it's like I don't think they want to, come out and say, "Oh, this is pre-crisis Superboy." But meanwhile, it's like you don't want to be like, "Oh, this is just something the Time Trapper created from not, just out of nothing."
Yeah, it's continuity is always a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
Like it should be less important than it is.
Oh yeah,
really, because at this point in DC. Like, Jeff Johns basically made it so that everything's canon, so they should stop worrying about this stuff.
Well, now, everything happened everywhere, somewhere in one of the infinite numbers of Earths and multiverses.
They should have done that years ago, but I guess better later than never. So, Crypto's fun, though. It was fun to see Crypto.
Oh, yeah.
And, interesting that Crypto shows up as, the exact same later on. But,
I just, my favorite is Pete Ross, being all super active.
Oh yeah, because it kind of gives you like that contrast too. Because once Byrne takes over, when he changes the history, it's like now Lon is the one who knows Clark's secret. So it's like here, Pete Ross knowing Superboy's secret, but then on the other end, where we're going to see the next issue, it's Lana who knows his secret.
Right.
And it's funny because sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say the whole Mon-El being part of things here was just interesting.
I forgot about that. Mon-El.
Because he's here, and then like I said, I didn't read these till later, so starting with the Superman story, I actually found it more interesting because you don't know what's happening when you start the Superman story. Then all of a sudden, the Legion shows up.
Yeah, right. Thinking he's Superman.
It was a little bit more like, oh, okay, what's going on compared to this book being the setup for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the second one. I have a synopsis for this one.
Yeah, let's stop this crap. Let's go.
Superman number 8 from August 1987. Future Shock. This is the only thing that's titled Future Shock, but this issue.
That's
but
where it got the
writer and penciler John Byrne, penciler Carl Kessel, colors Tom Zayuko, letterer John Costanza, and editors Andrew Helfer and Mike Carlin. Clark has volunteered to help Lana Lang put up a fence at her home, and he gets the job done in no time thanks to super speed and heat vision. Martha and Jonathan come up with a picnic basket, and the four have lunch together. Suddenly, Superman perceives a disturbance at the nearby limestone rock quarry, which, make a note of this place, kid. There's going to be a couple fights here in the next couple.
Yes. You'll be seeing
this
this
year,
place
next
again.
year, yeah.
Yeah.
Flies off to investigate. Upon arriving, he finds 4 superheroes from the future known as Brainiac 5, Sunboy, Invisible Kid, and Block. Superman's powers go out of control, and suddenly he begins firing heat vision at this futuristic legion of superheroes. Remember that? Remember the heat? All right, remember that too, kids. For in January when we come back, why the heat vision's running amok.
Yes.
The Legion, meanwhile, believe that Superman is actually Superboy, a time-traveling hero that has teamed up with them in the 30th century. Everybody gets into a big fight, but before long, cooler heads prevail when Brainiac 5 attempts to explain his presence in this era. Originally, they tried to use the Time Trapper's time bubble to travel backwards in time to Superboy's native era. However, they wound up in a strange pocket dimension instead. Superboy turned out to be a traitor and tried to kill them. Other members of the Legion of Superheroes escaped and tried to return through the time stream. However, they ended up here in this parallel universe. Superman tries to explain to them that in this reality, he never became Superboy and he has no idea who the Legion of Superheroes even are. At that moment, Superboy appears above them and threatens to end their lives. Okay, I got at least 2 Superman experts here. Okay, is there any situation, even if he thinks it's going to like save Smallville or save the planet, where Superboy would threaten to kill anyone?
Yes.
Superboy?
No.
Probably. Because I look
Just
at
Superboy.
Because I look at the maturity level.
Teenage hormones. Okay.
Because there is a line. There is a line
yeah.
later where Clark says, "I defeat." Like when not to skip ahead, but like when he defeats Superboy, he works backwards and says all the clues that he had and everything he put together to show like Superboy's thought process.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse
and
me.
the thing with pre-crisis comics, the Silver Age, like, you know, there was always like things were always getting involved to like make heroes fight each other.
Yeah.
Whether it be like forms of kryptonite but like they'd usually be like twists. Like it would appear that maybe it appears that Superboy's trying to kill them, but actually he's trying to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this was treated a bit more seriously, and I know like there's Superboy fans who really didn't like it, but I don't really think it's a big deal because I don't think he was ever really gonna kill anyone. So,
Because he says like he's got the Legion. I mean, he's got the Legion frozen. He says that it's programmed not to be able to freeze Superman. I might be mixing up a couple of issues here, trying to get through here. Because this issue, like that's the thing is like some of the drawing, some of the art, they don't draw Superboy enough to look like Superboy. Like there's some panels where it takes you a second look to kind of be like, is that supposed to be Superman or Superboy? And like this issue is neat but at the same time, so much of the art is, hey, we're going to fill you in on the past, pre-crisis, when Superboy met the Legion and how he became a Legionnaire, what his Smallville was like and all this, just so we can get to the last panel where Superboy shows up. Now, like I said, I read this issue first, so I was like, is that supposed to be Superboy Prime? And then I'm thinking back like, no, I don't think there was. No.
Yeah, because I'm like, is this supposed to be? Is this like an unofficial crossover or something? Because it seems like they spent half this issue recapping the Legion issue, and it's just like,
yeah. I like the way Byrne drew Superboy just because it looks like a younger version of the Byrne Superman.
I mean, in some panels, but in some panels it was kind of like, was that supposed to be like, especially in the next book, more than this one?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess it's tricky, like, because given, like, Byrne's very unique style at the time, like, imitating sort of the house style that sort of revolves around Kurt Swan would be, like, weird territory. So, which makes this crossover a bit weird. But Look, that first panel where he's lifting up the tree, does that CK on his belt stand for Calvin Klein or Clark Kent?
I wasn't looking at that.
Oh, well, what were you looking at, Justin? That Terry chest there.
I enjoyed this opening a lot.
I just think it's hilarious because even Lana picks out, like, why are you still wearing your glasses? He's like, oh, yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, because I mean that makes no sense at all. Because if someone catches him pulling this tree out of the ground, wouldn't you rather be like, oh yeah, I'm just Superman in a regular pair of pants instead of, oh hey, what's Clark Kent, a shirtless Clark Kent ripping a tree out of it? How is that happening?
It says it's force of habit, but if I was Superman, that would drive me crazy. Like having these things on your face that are like,
right,
that you don't need.
But I mean, force of habit. Like, does that mean like when he's at home, he just leaves them on and he's like doing stuff with his powers? Because I feel like if I was using my powers, like I would really, my glasses are on. But...
Well, I think it's part of Byrne just really trying to push that. Oh, he's Clark Kent, not Superman, which is like the opposite of what came before. So
yeah. I mean, I think that was Byrne's big thing is like he writes Clark as if he is like a human being, but just by a twist of fate and nature, he just has alien DNA, but he's basically human.
He wasn't subtle about it. He was born on Earth, even. Which
when that Matrix popped open,
changes. Yeah.
And I've been over this. I'm not a fan of that.
I don't know unless present company is the case. I don't know anyone that's a fan of that. Him being actually born on Earth.
It's a safe space, Connor. You're cool, man. You can just express. It's good. Like, you can say what you need to say.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like. It kind of started with this, but I noticed a lot of writers like Rebirth and stuff now as kids. It's like, when do we get to the point where Superman's basically just a human? There's literally no drawbacks to him being a Kryptonian. Like, it lessens the character, in my opinion. If he's, and like, the Kents are alive, that's fine. If Kents are alive, I prefer they're not alive. I prefer they're in the ground. But if they're alive, it's fine. But when they're alive, he's married, he has kids. That's a really cushy life for a superhero. Now, I'm not saying all superheroes have to be Batman, but, all the great heroes of history and mythology, they all have tragedy somewhere in their lives. And, like, tragedy is an important part of the human experience. It's, like, cathartic. And it's just weird. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm reading Superman, it's just like, where's this whole lone survivor of Krypton thing? That's
I'm sure he'll go through that again.
We touched on that an episode we did where he basically was talking about, is the super family too big and what they've been doing?
It's way too big.
And we were breaking down all that on a previous episode of just, even like, we love these characters, certain ones. I won't recap the whole thing, but it's like, let's do something different with this character and this character. Like, what purpose is this character? Like,
yeah, because there's two Superboys, a Supergirl, those two orphans they took in from War World.
It's crazy.
Now Power Girl's kind of like in there too, so it's
it's the same thing with the Bat family. That's huge now. Yeah,
but it kind of makes sense for Batman.
Yeah,
it's like kind of part of his character and his character growing. With Superman, it's just like he's always kind of been like a loner, as in he doesn't really have sidekicks. So and. Yes, like huge family, and I can't remember who said it. It was some writer for Superman. It was like, Superman is less special when there's other people with his powers just running around with an S on their chest.
Yeah.
So
that was kind of why they killed Supergirl in Crisis.
Yeah, that was kind of
they wanted to make him more like
the sole survivor of Krypton. Yeah, no Supergirl, no animals. Yeah,
right.
I mean, my preferred thing right now, what I think would be an interesting book would be to take Connor and Power Girl and pair them up and send them off on their own journey, because they're kind of like the copies, the redo,
right?
The bastards, so to speak,
or even just like do it again where you put the JSA on Earth 2 and maybe have those two go over there and be the Superman and Supergirl Earth 2 or something.
Yeah, something like that where like they go off to start do their own thing. And if I was a writer and I came on to like Superman, one of the first things I would do is I'd find a way to like fix time and age John back down. Just
people would hate me if I was on Superman.
He'd kill them
everyone would be everyone would be getting killed off. Not forever, they'd be brought back, but they would be killed off for a little bit, and people would lose their minds.
I'd just throw them all off into space. I'd have them go find something to do off in space.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, like I like the idea when they proposed like John Kent and Val Zod like out together. Like I was like, that's a cool way of bringing Val Zod back and having them gone and doing their. Then that was short lived. So like, yeah, right now like there's just too many Kryptonian based characters,
and people love the Super Sons thing. Yeah, aging John back down would be great because I mean we all know whose decision that was to age him up.
Bendis.
Oh, God.
And I'm telling you, when I talked to Dan Jurgens, I could see the look in his eye. He was not happy with that.
I don't think a lot of them were happy with that. No, yeah.
I didn't care, but I don't like it.
I like John as a kid, man.
I'd send the little poop into space if it was me, which Bendis did. So no, yeah, I read Superman for Superman. So like having such a cluttered supporting cast is like a bummer. But I guess technically it's Action Comics, right? So
yeah,
because the Superman book itself, which I've been catching up on, I think I'm 4 issues in. That's mostly just Superman.
Yeah, they've been keeping that mostly.
But I mean,
mostly
even with the Action Comics, like if it was like the main story is like Superman and maybe one character, fine. Then like another one is what Connor's up to, and then you
because they do have backup stories. Yeah.
But I'm saying, but the first issue has everybody in it, and then the backup, like I liked when they did the flashback story when John was young again. But so back to this comic we're reviewing.
Well, just one thought. There's not really they're not really serving any purpose aside from the fact that they're there. Like, none of them have really had any significant roles in the story. Like, Connor Kent, not me, different spelling, had, like, he disconnected Cyborg Superman. Oh, I'm glad he's back from, that was sarcasm, in case anyone didn't realize. Disconnected him from everything, so he had, like, an important role. And I really like Superboy because he's different. He's like a clone.
Yeah.
So the reason I dislike John so much is because I think Connor's like a much better legacy character because he's not just Superman 2.
Yeah, his powers are a little different, yeah.
And he also, one of his parents is Lex, his greatest enemy.
And I feel like recently, no one's explored that part. No one's dug into the fact that Connor could be the better Superman because he has Lex's intelligence. Mm-hmm. But they always touch on him having, like, Clark's powers, but they haven't touched on him having Lex's intelligence. Yeah, and I feel like that's something. And I mean, I like the idea of a younger John because I like the idea of, Connor being this uncle mentor to John and like what would they do together that we kind of got robbed of. Now they're like almost equals. Right. And where's the drama in that?
There's 2 Superboys now, except I think Superboy's Superman now, but not that Superboy. The other
John's name is so like whoa, and then the twins. Don't get me started because I feel like Philip Kennedy Johnson needs to wrap up their story before he leaves the book. Because whoever's going to come in is going to get rid of them.
I'm fine with them, but I don't think they need an S on their chest, and I don't think they need to have the same powers as Superman. Why can't they just be 2 alien orphans,
Yeah.
So, sorry, I derail everything.
No.
Or, wrap up those kids' storyline. Have them find, like, an alien cousin or something they can go live with,
Have Superman have, like, a Kryptonian wing in his fortress where all his Kryptonian friends hang out.
Kryptonian daycare.
Bottle City of Candor.
He puts them in a Philosian pocket dimension where they can live out as if they never left.
And here, kids, isn't that the Phantom Zone? No.
The Bottle City of Candor.
All right.
But yeah, so Superboy shows up and shoots them with a ray.
Ready to kill them all, and they're like, wait, Superboy Prime? What?
I really like... Actually, do we even see it this issue? No, this issue is just the fight. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it next issue.
I liked the battle with the Legion in this one.
The best part of this issue is Crypto showing up and listening to Crypto's inner monologue.
I know, I love that.
Yeah. See, I
love that.
I was sort of pointing out it's dedicated to the memory of Edmund Hamilton, which I think they spelt wrong. But actually, my next episode that'll be coming out, I have Adam talking Superman and Dave from Signal of Doom. We're all talking about Edmund Hamilton's work on Superman, because it's actually really prolific. He did the first Superman-Batman team-up ever. He did the first Lexor story. All his Superman stories are, like, pretty sci-fi as well, and they have, like, an emphasis on the future and how Earth will develop. So he's a really good writer. I suggest everyone read up on him a bit. So.
Oh, and I just wanted to bring up that cover of the Superboy number 8. It Byrne doing his take on his own Fantastic Four cover.
Yeah, his own cover.
Someone self-homage is a weird thing.
Like, you just create one thing, you sell it to one side, and then you go redo with some tweaks on the other side.
Well, no one told Todd McFarlane that.
Lol. I mean, the Fantastic Four cover's better because, like, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's an evil character, but
because Superman's not going to just like utterly destroy the Legion. Yeah.
Like, is it like an ego thing? Like doing people do homages to Crisis. In fact, I think Crisis 7 might have been a homage to. Actually, to be honest, I don't know if it was a homage to the Phoenix Death of Jean Grey, but like a cover where a character is holding another dead character is a common thing. Anyway, my point is, homaging other covers that other artists have done is really common and usually a form of flattery. I don't know what it is when you're just homaging your own covers. Am I thinking about it too much, or is it like...
You're just like, hey, I need to write a cover. I'm just going to redo this with different people.
So, laziness makes more sense.
They'll love it.
Oh, yeah. That's like what I was referencing. Like, Todd McFarlane, there was a whole run of Spawn covers where he just, like, redid, like, his old Spider-Man covers and just...
Yeah, totally.
He's like, no one will notice.
Because when I looked at the cover, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the one where Superman's mind controlled and beating the crap out of everyone? No, he got swapped with Ultra Humanite, someone. But no, that was the first. That was the first issue.
Oh yeah, the first pre-crisis action. Yeah. The one we covered. Yeah.
My point was that's kind of what he looks like on the comic. He's like a villain that's decimating the Legion of Superheroes. So,
in this issue, we have Pete Ross. Like, Superman makes the comment about how this looks like Smallville, but like an idealized Smallville. Right. So like, there's your first kind of hint. Like, this looks too good to be true. And then Pete Ross comes in like, I've known for a while, but I kept it. And then I just like when Superboy shows up and just, we don't see it, but like we just see Superboy at the window. And then the next panel is Clark, Superman flying after getting punched in the face. And then Crypto shows up and attacks, and it's just madness.
I really like getting to see pre-crisis Smallville being compared with post-crisis, where the Kents kind of owned a store and sold their farm and stuff. Like, I just thought it was like really neat, little fan servicey thing for. Yeah. It's like, hey, I remember that Smallville.
I just really like the fact that Crypto goes down to Superboy's secret lab, and there's just a cabinet of kryptonite containers, all labeled the appropriate color. Why do people really put Crypto through the wars? Because he talks about like exposing himself to gold kryptonite, like he might have to do it, and Pa's holding the gold kryptonite.
Yeah, because I mean, if Crypto's smart enough, shouldn't he be smart enough to be like, let me take this lead container up to Pa Kent. He can use it. He's not Kryptonian. He doesn't have to worry about losing his powers.
Exactly. Right.
Maybe it's like he's super intelligent for a dog.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of like
he's still a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things. Like, why didn't he take the container? Why did he just take the piece of kryptonite? But at the same time,
he should know. I think they wanted that little tearjerker moment where Crypto sort of loses.
He's just a regular dog.
Himself,
yeah,
even though it doesn't matter because it's a pocket dimension. It's not real.
Yeah. I mean, sacrifice is too great to help my master.
Yeah, they want to show he's a loyal dog. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it doesn't matter because it's a pocket dimension. Like, we established it's a real place.
But I mean, the Time Trapper created it, so like it's a real place. But he created
so
it.
he grabbed it, right, and it formed. But he like kind of influenced it so it would create the pre-crisis Superboy. So it's like a real, like, he wasn't really God, if that makes sense. It was like he just influenced it. So, and I'm not saying it's not dumb because it is dumb, but.
Because
that's what I say. I always headcanon it where it's like he either like stole this moment in time and created a pocket universe out of it, or he just like basically made a complete copy of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, my problem is this thingy where it gets kind of, I don't want to say it gets retcon, but it kind of gets tweaked when we find out who the Time Trapper is supposed to be.
Who is he supposed to be? Like, when do we find this out? Is this in the Superman run? Because I don't remember.
Like I said, I think it was like a 0 hour thing, wasn't it?
It's 0 hour.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
This all gets kind of like softly retconned back that who the Time Trapper is.
Because not to spoil too much, but he's like a member of the Legion.
Phil, I'll just text you, Phil.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it.
I'll read 0 Hour eventually.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, I don't know if, because they did a lot of changes during 0 hour, so I don't know if that kind of did it. Oh, no, I didn't see that. Okay, I think that might come later on.
It's in 0 hour.
Yeah, okay.
Because I had to check when I was reading this.
Yeah, but that character, I don't think, he showed up way after 0 hour.
But, I mean,
I guess,
yeah. Because the one I was talking about, that's 0 hour, and then Superboy Prime I thought was way later.
I don't consider this... Sorry, go on.
No.
But
later, Phil.
Okay, but I do love like the whole thing where their kryptonite doesn't affect burn Superman and stuff.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, but I also love when like Pete Ross sees Superman and he's like you're old now. What happened? Did you get exposed to red kryptonite again or something?
and he goes, and in his mind bubble's like red kryptonite.
I know. At this point, burn Superman just like there's only one color kryptonite. What's he talking about?
But this page 20 is the one I was talking about where he like basically breaks down like all the clues,
the full page breakdown,
clues, and then like the next page is Superboy like crying and then like having their moment where this is what he was trying to do, and he explains he really wasn't trying to hurt nobody, and I was like okay.
I do like how they show off just how much more powerful Superboy is than Superman.
Oh, you think?
Like it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Like, it really it would be no contest whatsoever. So, it was really clever, the kryptonite thing, because, like, that's a really clever way to have Superman actually be able to win. And even then, Superman's like, you're so fast, you could have just taken this from me. Which is true. So, yeah, and, like, I guess my point before was, like, I don't consider the characters in this universe, like, invalid, because they're influenced by the Time Trapper or whatever. Like, I still consider it, like, it's a living, breathing Earth that's full of people. And it's like I really like the follow up to this story at the end of Byrne's run. Like I thought that was really good.
I haven't read that yet because I'm trying to read it linear.
Have you never read it?
Not all the way through. Like I read Man of Steel and like I read some of the stuff, but like I never read the whole run because I was never a huge fan of the Man of Steel run. And like I'm not going to go into all of why like my nitpicks. Yeah. We went over that in our first episodes, but like.
Well, allow me. No, I actually, like, as a Superman fan, like, it's like, oh, this is absolutely not my preferred version of Superman, right? Or the origin of Superman, not my preferred version. But as just a comic book, like, I just think it's a well-written, entertaining run. Like, I think it's genuinely good quality. So, I have it all here. And what I like about it is it just feeds directly, like, Exile directly follows this. And I love Exile. So
Exile, yeah.
Like you read the end of Byrne's run, then you're right in Exile.
Yeah,
and it's just all awesome. I really like it all, and they got to collect the Krypton Man Eradicator stuff because if you want that trade, you're going to be paying like too much money.
Ooh yeah, and that's a great story. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, that's who we need. That's the guest we need for when we do X out. At least put the like towards the end of it when we get Mongol. Ray loves Mongol.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I don't know if he'll like. I don't know if he likes post-crisis Mongol.
I don't know if he's. I don't know. Has he read any post-crisis Mongol?
Ray
don't know. Ray don't know.
We read one that you recommended.
Mm-hmm.
And because like Mongol's cool because he in pre-crisis.
Oh, the Green Lantern is the one of those early Kyle Rayner Green Lantern issues. Yeah,
Kyle Rayner's like slapping around Mongol, and it's like, oh man, what have they done to Mongol? Like it's and Mongol was like he was a wuss in Reign of the Superman as well. Like imagine having him play second.
But it's been a while since I read Exiled. I mean, he's pretty badass in Exiled, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he is cool in Exile,
Superman. Yeah,
he only has an advantage against Superman because Superman has no powers. Like as soon as Superman gets some of his power back, he just wipes him out. I could be misremembering though, so
no, I think you're pretty right. Like, I did read that part. That's what I'm saying. That's why like just reading this straight, like we're doing, is helping fill gaps of stuff. Like, oh, I thought I read this or I did read this, but I missed this.
Me too. Yeah, there's a bunch of the Adventures of Superman issues that I never read, so I'm loving catching up with those.
I did a huge read recently of 90s Superman, so just doing this and just keep going is gonna be just fun to do.
Yeah.
So, all right, just to try to wrap it up and get us back on track. It's so how does everyone think it's Superman really could have went into the future with them to help them, but they found a way to be oh no, if you're killed, that's whatever. So they're just no, you stay here. We don't need you in the Legion book. Yeah. Yeah,
and then they just go back to the Legion book, and I read this and I was paying attention because this is supposed to be Superboy in the book.
Yes.
But they draw him to look like Superman.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of threw me off. And then Mon-El's there, and then Mon-El
they offer to help him, and
Mon-El gets killed, right? Because I was a little confused.
I don't think
or is
so.
it Superboy?
No, it's Superboy. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Well, Superboy sacrifices himself to that basically gives his life to power that machine or whatever that saves that Smallville.
Yeah, that's what
They save that Pocket Universe for another storyline we're going to get to.
It's just tough because Mon-El and Superboy, they have almost exactly identical hair and faces and costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Superboy, your sacrifice is not in vain.
Yeah. They have the statue at the end, but it did just look like Superman.
It did.
In the book. And that's what threw me when I was wait a minute, did I miss something?
And then that's the other thing with with Crisis stuff. It's I can't remember how long because I'm not the hugest fan of Legion, but don't they forget about Superboy by a certain point?
That would be pretty dumb.
I don't know.
Yeah, unless once again maybe 0 Hour or something retcons that or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I never thought it was Superman. He's too small in frame for me to think he's Superman.
It's just some of the drawings. It's just some of the
right,
the way they do some of it. It looks like him. They're no, it looks like Superboy.
Well, I just wonder if that's some artists, they kind of have a trouble drawing distinguishing between adults and teenagers. So,
or when
for me, it was more the face.
Sometimes the face looks old.
Byrne. At least with Byrne's Superboy, you could tell kind of a little bit from the face.
He drew it softer,
a younger version. Yeah. But this artist, for some reason, the face just looks like an adult to me. Yeah,
I thought it was,
but it wasn't bad.
I thought it was a good send off for Superboy. Yeah,
it was a good send off. It's kind of just a very interesting, it's his story if you think about it. This what we read, it's Superboy's story. He's your real character because he has the arc through all the books. So.
I mean,
this could have been much worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could have been better too, but yeah.
It's almost I was gonna say it's almost like a whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow for Superboy, just for the character of Superboy, not Superman. Yeah,
right, exactly.
It would have been interesting, if this book ended and then you got kind of this issue of what the world would have looked like if Superboy had died here.
Right,
there never would have been Superman. I don't know. It could have been a little bit more because so this whole pocket dimension it's populated with everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it has the Legion, it has a whole universe inside of it.
Well, no. Well, they said the only inhabited planet is Earth in this pocket universe, so you're not getting any aliens besides. There was 2 worlds. There was Earth and Krypton. That was it. There was no other inhabited world. So you're you're not getting any Martian Manhunter or Hawk people or Green Lanterns.
So Superboy came out of the pocket dimension and went into the real world back in time with the Legion.
Or back forward in time, yes.
Yeah,
forward in time. Right.
Well, yeah, that's because that's what they said. Every time they tried to go to the past, the time trapper was throwing them into this pocket universe,
manipulating it.
Yeah,
because he's the time trapper. He's the master of time. So, and the other thing is they mentioned the time trapper obviously manipulated it so Superboy could go into the future, but they also kind of mentioned Superboy might be powerful enough just to go there anyway.
Yeah,
they say that at the end when he takes them to the future. Because he takes them to the future, which stops Time Trapper from preventing them getting there. Because
they say Smallville when he's just barely alive, and he's I'm going to get you home. You guys help me save Smallville. I'm going to help you guys get home.
Yeah. Well, not just Smallville, the whole planet.
Well, yeah.
Because there was Time Trapper made a machine that was somehow preventing the crisis.
Yeah, that's so weird. It's like Crisis is over, but meanwhile, like that Red Sky effect is still threatening this pocket universe. It's
yeah. I think that's the point where it's like you're thinking about it too much.
I just think the Time Trapper was that was the Time Trapper saying, "Oh, that's not me," even though it is him.
Yeah.
But yeah, but again, I guess like Tyler pointed out, this can't be the Superboy who becomes Silver Age Superman because he dies as Superboy. So then you wouldn't have Silver Age Superman.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, it's just anyway.
Again, this was just a ham-fisted attempt to say, oh yeah, all those stories where the Legion encountered a Superboy, oh yeah, those still happened, but yes, it wasn't present day Superman.
Stories that exist for the purpose of continuity are like always weaker to me. Although there is exceptions, and I do quite like this story. I think it works outside of that, but I don't think you should ever really write a story just to fix continuity. Like it's just baffling to me.
I think it was just a olive branch, so the Legion, so they didn't have to tell the Legion writers, oh yeah, every story you wrote was Superboy. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
I guess at least this means like the Legion writers, Paul Levitz, can stop worrying about what's going on and just keep writing Legion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So all that past stuff that still all that past stuff still happened, but from this point on, you're not going to see any Superboy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just replace him with Mon-El in the script. Whatever you were going to have him do, have Mon-El do it instead.
They were. Yeah, I think they eventually do that. Yeah, they basically just made Mon-El that character in some of the flashbacks and stuff. And then there's like, is it a Daxamite or there's some female, like a blonde female, where I think they plug her in to replace Supergirl in any story Supergirl was in or something. Was it
Oh
dear.
Yeah. I forget if she's like a Daxamite or something. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because that's even trickier because nobody remembers Supergirl.
That's a mess.
Because that's the thing. I mean, you do a big story like that, like a Crisis, where like you're rebooting the universe and stuff, but it's like, but you don't completely reboot everything. There's always going to be cracks in the foundation. There's like, well, what about this thing? What about this?
Right.
Yeah,
decades worth of stories to address.
If you're going to do a reboot, you do it clean, and you also don't blow up the previous continuity either. Like, it's still there, just so everyone's kind of happy.
But it's just timing and everything, because like even when they rebooted with New 52, and they're like, okay, we're 5 years into a new universe, but it's like, meanwhile, Bruce Wayne still had 4 Robins, so it's like, wait, so he's had a Robin every year?
Yeah, they picked, they cherry picked that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna ask you guys a question real quick. I just want a yes or no. Should DC?
Yes.
Because I've heard rumors about this. Do their own kind of ultimate universe. Where they reboot, start from, at the very beginning with everybody in their own pocket dimension.
So like just do like an alternate universe and do.
Yeah, just like Marvel do with the Ultimates. They just start over and it's like a.
Well, I thought that's what they were trying to do with like All-Star Superman and All-Star Batman back in the day, but
it's kind of rather see
them. I'd rather see them resurrect the Elseworlds line.
Well, they're working on that. Like that was a big announcement they had at New York Comic Con. Was they're going to bring back a lot of these Elseworlds stories.
Oh, good.
They do that line, but there was rumblings about potentially starting their own kind of basically ultimate universe. But
I mean, it's a way for everyone to have their cake and eat it too. Because I mean, Marvel they're restarting a new Ultimates line, and like everyone's been screaming for Spider-Man's marriage to come back. There's going to be a married adult Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe now. So if you did that, I mean, you could have 2 universes now. Everyone can have their cake. You could have married family Superman. Connor could get his single Superman.
I think it would be good because, like, I recently read a Supergirl book, and James and I reviewed it, and I said, to me, where I am in my comic reading, this book was nothing. But to someone who's coming on to these stories who just recently started reading, this is like an important book about this character. So I'm go ahead.
The problem with an alternate universe is it won't take long for it to get bloated like the real the main universe.
Yeah.
So it's like a Band-Aid solution. When you think about it, New 52 was kind of like Ultimate, except they just stopped publishing the main universe.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. It's like you said yes or no, but it's actually like it's a hard question. I will say, like, I like that we're getting mini-series for characters that aren't Batman now that are, like, where continuity is not important. I think that's a really good step. Like, they're not technically Elseworlds, but they're just standalone stories where continuity with the current titles just doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah. But at least with like an Ultimate Universe thing, it's like you reboot, you restart everyone from day one. Like New 52, I mean, Superman got a full reboot, but meanwhile, it's like the books that were selling well, Batman and Green Lantern, they kind of got more like a soft reboot.
Yeah,
right.
And that's like, I just remember when the Ultimate Universe launched, it was exciting, and my brother and he bought X-Men, I did Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, and he did X-Men in another book. And we just really followed those lines because it was a nice place to start and just follow like the whole world being built from the ground up. And I loved it because it was exciting. It was easy to follow compared to like trying to find that entry point in. So I don't know. Like I just like Solomon's actually starting to read comics now compared to like just like looking at the pictures. Like him and I are reading the Justice League Godzilla together. So like if they did something where he could like start from the ground up, and follow the characters instead of like jumping in the middle of something could be cool.
Although, remember, especially like me and Justin, we're the old men here. Remember back in the day, Justin, when we started reading, you jumped into the middle of a title. It might be like, issue 312, and you're just like, okay, I guess I got to jump in. I got to figure out what's going on. And, oh, hey, they're mentioning something that happened 6 months ago. Again, kids, this was before the internet, so we had to try to go to our local comic shops and hunt down back issues and stuff.
Back issues, if we were lucky, yeah.
Oh, back issue hunting was the best.
Editors would help us out and they'd give us little blurbs and stuff.
That is my one demand. We need editor's notes.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Very helpful.
We definitely need more of those.
What we need is what Phil said years ago, and I stand by this and I talk about it. They need to go back to publishing comics on newspaper and drop the prices down. So that comics will actually have a value again for the books,
and start selling them more places like they used to instead of just comic shops. Back in the day, at least here, Connor, we used to have them in convenience stores, we had them in grocery stores, we had newsstands and stuff. Yeah, gas stations had like a spinner rack or two. Yeah,
and we talked about it too. Have the spinner racks or back issue things at the movie theater.
Yeah, when there's a superhero, a Marvel or DC movie. Yeah.
It's a very good point. Or like even, let's say Man of Steel, whatever, new Superman movie. Oh, here's issue 1 of Birthright for free.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Give that out to everybody that buys a ticket.
Especially what they charge for tickets now. Yeah. Be like, here's a free comic.
You can read the story that influenced the movie. That would be great. Really get people into it. Yeah.
They need to have, do you remember where they had like a page or two that would just be the cast of characters, a short description of who they were, and then a short blurb of like what's been happening and what's happening now.
Yes.
Like that made it so easy just to jump in. You didn't need to read the past 3 arcs.
For a while, Marvel was actually doing that on the inside covers of all their comic books.
Yeah.
They would have a detailed synopsis of what happened in the previous few issues. They would have nice little descriptions of all the main characters and the villains that were appearing in the issue, so you know who they were, and some of the supporting cast. And it also referenced other books that were tangentially related to that issue, in case you were interested in reading those. They did that for like a year or two, and I thought it was a great idea.
As much of a mess as the X books are right now, all of them now, they kind of put in like some text pages in there too that kind of gives you like information and stuff that's going on. So yeah. But yeah, like Tyler said, put it on newsprint again. That makes your comics more valuable. If the paper can degrade and stuff, that makes them more valuable.
That makes you want to like really collect with a point, Yeah. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. But that's just, I brought that back up again when I was over the weekend. Yeah, Phil said this, and I still stand by it. Like I think,
make it so my new comic that costs $7 doesn't take 2 minutes to read.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I spent. You buy this book. $7. It's high gloss paper or something, and you're like, okay,
yeah, it's good paper, maybe like a special cover, but yeah,
I read it in 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah,
that was just a little blip. I have to wait for the next book to feel like I got the story, and
because I'll do that. I'll get my weekly comics and I'll sit down and I'll pick up 2 issues that are about the same size, and one of them I can read. If I read it in 5 minutes, and the other one takes me a little longer, I'm like. Well, something's not right here. Where one of them, I can breeze right through it, and the other one, it's taking me a little bit of time.
I won't say what book, but I got a book over the weekend. I was reading through it, and I was like, oh, on this 2 pages, there's like 1 word bubble, just art.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's some words. And then like the last 2 pages had like the characters talking. I was like, and that's the book. Thank you.
So that's it.
Who wrote that?
It's, yeah, more than once I've been tempted to switch to the old trades, which is kind of what they want you to do. But it's just like,
If you listen
at least
to,
I'll, read the full story.
I think it was on our last episode, James and I had a long discussion because we've been bringing it up about just shifting our buying and our reading modes to, if it's a mini series, we're just going to wait for the trade. Starting to wait just in reading stuff on the app because like I brought it up, like my local comic shop closed. Even if I like buy it, like my nearest one's like an hour away. Even going there or having them shipped costs me more money. It makes it difficult to keep up. And then I'm like, I'm more likely to go to my shelf, grab a trade and read it than I am dig through my short boxes and start pulling individual issues.
Right.
So like we had a whole conversation kind of debate about just what we want to do moving forward as far as like our buying habits. And like you said, like the books are costing more and more. And I don't feel like I'm getting enough value out of them.
Well,
Until I sit down and read a whole story. Then I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, like I think I told you. I mean, if you're paying for shipping, I know what Will does. I don't know where he gets his comics, but they just send the one shipment for the month. He gets his month books, the month's books at once at the end of the month.
At the end of the month.
But then by then, like it's almost time for the next books to come out. Means they're gonna be on my app.
Oh yeah,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually, like it's just gonna be. I'm a month behind, so why not just wait for it to drop on the app?
Yeah.
It's a mess. I mean, right now, what I'm doing is I'm collecting the main 2 titles. I just read those whenever I feel like it. I'm collecting all the minis of Superman that are coming out, but I'm not reading them until they're finished.
Yeah, like I can't wait.
Probably
to
be
finish.
dead by the time Lex Luthor finishes.
Oh yeah, did you see they delayed that? I think was it at least till February? The second issue, the first one came out like at the end of the summer or something.
Yeah, and we were. I was talking about that. I'm like, why do you release a book like that when you only know it's gonna be 3 issues? Why not just start to release it when you know when it's done?
Well, it's one of those big oversized black label ones too.
Why not just wait till it's done?
Yeah.
And then release it. Then 2 months later, if you want to space it out, release the next issue. Then 2 months later, release it. Because
I don't care who the creative team is. Yeah, get like 2 or 3 at least in the can. And then, like you said, it's only 3 issues.
It's only 3 issues.
Get all 3 issues done. Yeah.
I might be misremembering, but isn't the script done? It's just an art issue?
It might be.
I think it usually is just an art issue.
It's Mark Waid and Brian Hitch, yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, before you even tell people it's coming, have it done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's only going to be 3 issues.
And is the problem because it's in that bigger format? I'm like, I don't need that bigger format.
All I know is like I read the first.
It's hard to store.
Yeah, luckily the store I go to, the guy has like magazine size bags, which you can like bag and board those, but you just need like bigger ass bags and stuff. But
you just got to put it on a bookshelf, like you can't put it.
Yeah,
in a comic box. But yeah, that's another one of my big things is like they create these like these special black, and then they're like, okay, here's the first issue.
So I thought they stopped that for a while, and then it seemed like they went back to that. I'm like, why? Especially when people are complaining about price. I'm like, just do it in the standard size.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, I haven't read Last Days of Lex Luthor yet for obvious reasons, but is it a bigger page count, or is it literally just...
It's like all those bigger size ones, like I don't know if you saw Batman Damned
right
or...
here.
Yeah.
It's not really a bigger page count.
Okay.
It's just bigger size, but, it's like $6.99 compared to like, $5.99.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, there's not much of a price difference, but...
I read it because I was going to try to go meet Mark Waid when he was in Cleveland, and I wanted him to sign it. And I really enjoyed it, but then I looked up when's issue 2, and now I'm just like, I'll buy issue 2, then I'll wait, I'll buy issue 3, and then I'll sit down and read all 3.
They keep delaying too. Like I said, last estimate, they said maybe February 2024. I'm like, okay, maybe.
It's just like when they did Doomsday Clock, and it was like, 1 year, 2.5 years later, we're done.
They're taking a page from the Rob Liefeld Youngblood book.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm glad I read.
We'll eventually get another issue of that.
Who's running stuff over there? Kevin Smith.
I'm glad I read Doomsday Clock years after it came out, because I think I enjoyed it a lot more than if I would have been reading it as it came out. Plus, like the Putin stuff is aged given the current circumstances. But yeah, because he shows up in that. If anyone remembers, Vladimir Putin. So.
Yeah, it was funny having. I read it as it came out, and then I just recently went back and read the whole thing for a discussion. And yeah, I had forgotten when he popped
That
up.
he's in it?
Yeah. And then I was like, oh.
It would have, it almost would have been better if Doomsday Clock was written and released while the war in Ukraine was happening.
Oh.
That would fit in better with like the kind of Doomsday feel of, like Watchmen. So, yeah.
I don't think they've cracked the formula of folding the Watchmen stuff into the DC universe yet.
No,
I
think Doomsday Clock takes a big dump on Watchmen, and I love it for it.
They found their way to do it. They did it. And
I
then
also
they got out
like
of there
Watchmen,
quick.
but yeah.
What, Tyler?
I said they found their way to do it. They made the Doomsday Clock, and then they ran, and that was it. They're like, okay, we're now done.
Like a bank robbery. Here, give us your money. Okay, bye. All right.
I wish I had Alan Moore's address. I could just start sending him copies of Doomsday Clock, like drive him slowly.
Oh, jeez! I think DC's
one copy
doing
of Doomsday Clock each week.
I don't think DC needs your help. I think they're doing just fine driving him insane on their own.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I mean, we could go on forever, but I'm just going to stop.
I know we could.
I like the story.
Yeah. No. I've always kind of liked the story. I know a lot of people badmouth it, but
I like it more now that we've talked about it and just kind of looking at it like, okay, excuse me, this is Superboy's story.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think that's kind of the surprise I got at the end when I was reading it. Was like, oh, this was not about Superman. This was really about this Superboy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It works better as like a sort of self-contained, if you use that word, story than it does when you look at it with all the bells and whistles attached to what was happening behind the scenes. If you just take it for what it is on the page, I think it's fine.
Again, you have to just keep in context in your mind. It's like this. The purpose of this story is they, preserve those Superboy Legion stories.
Mm-hmm.
So you like
just to remind you they existed.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
So you liked it, Justin?
Yeah, I did like it. Yeah. And not being a big fan of the Legion, I thought it was just fine. Yeah. And it made me want to read more of the Legion stuff, dust off my old issues of those. So in that regard, I guess that was a success as well.
Like I said, if you want any Legion tips where to start and stuff, talk to Will, because Will's like he knows all the font of knowledge on Legion from that guy.
Yeah.
It's one of the more memorable stories from Byrne's run, I think. It's like one of the ones I've always kind of remembered because I've read through his run a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, early next year, we're getting all kinds of stuff. Why is Superman's heat vision on the fritz? And then, like I think I told you, Tyler, it's coming up pretty soon here. In either January or February, we're going to get to that 2-issue Action Comics where Byrne has Superman and Big Barda making porn.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Sleaze. Sleaze is next, I think.
In action, it is, yeah.
I'm excited. That's what I'm talking about.
Stuff.
That is hilarious. Is it true? What I heard, was Big Barda designed after Jack Kirby's wife or someone else's wife?
Oh, I don't know.
And John Byrne hates them, so he wanted to put her in like a porno with.
Wow.
That's like the rumor I've heard.
I'm gonna have to do my research for that episode. Oh.
Yeah, do.
Well,
I don't know if it's real or not, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that much about John Byrne, but I could see him being that penny.
He's crazy. He's absolutely mental. I think he'd be that petty.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, Jack Kirby based Barda's physical appearance on Lainey Kazan, who had recently appeared topless in Playboy.
Oh, all right.
Well, these comic book writers, a bunch of thirsty.
Oh, but some of the interplay Kirby wrote between Mr. Miracle and Big Barda was based tongue in cheek on the interplay between Kirby and his wife Roz. So
the personality.
Their actual the personalities was him and the wife, but he based the appearance on like a Playboy playmate. Yeah.
Well, that's not surprising.
Poor wife. I'm gonna base this character off you, except you'll look like a Playboy.
Oh snap! Do you guys know who Lainey Kazan is? Because I thought I recognized that name.
No.
Oh, just go look her up.
Oh boy, what is it? What is that in the? Is she famous under another name or?
No. Just when you see her face, like you've seen her and stuff now, you're like, oh snap! Oh
my god! I see a picture from 2007. She looks like Joy Behar.
You ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah, I'm looking at the thing now. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh,
It's
she
the mom.
Oh, she also played Aunt Frida on The Nanny. If anyone's seen that.
So yeah, surprise.
Oh yeah, don't be looking up pictures of Playboy Playmates from like the 60s now, kids. Now.
I'm just like, because I knew that name. I was like, wait a minute. I know that name.
Yeah, kids
like,
aren't interested in that stuff. Especially teenagers. Yeah.
Well, look up her old pictures. Don't look up her current pictures, kid.
I'm just like,
Don't look under your dad's bed for those old magazines.
what's a magazine?
Oh, yeah, it's all
Whoa.
internet now. Connor, come on.
Is that a website? Magazine?
I think I heard of it on TikTok.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, Tyler, the Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I was like, I knew that name because like we just started watching Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, and I was like, wait a minute, that name is that who I think it is? And I was like, yep.
So yes, her in her younger days, she was the basis for Big Barda. Okay, or the physical appearance. I have to look up. I guess I'll have to look up her Playboy pictures for research for that episode.
That's not what you tell your wife.
Yeah, it's research. Tyler told me to.
Yeah, I'll get a nice email.
Well, that's what I said.
Podcast.
Well, that's what a lot of us, all us married guys on the podcast do. Connor, is like anytime we get like new shit in the back, it's it's like, and your wife's like, "Oh, why'd you have to get that?" We're like, "You think that's bad? You should see how much Lilith has.
Check out Lilith's Funkos.
She has like over 200 Funkos. You think I'm bad? It's all Lilith's fault." All right, let's cut this off here. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Connor, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
All right. So tell everyone, where can they find Last Sons of Krypton if they want more of your Superman takes?
Well, yeah, at LSK Podcast on Twitter. We'll just look at Last Sons of Krypton podcast. I also run an Iron Fist podcast, which I'm very behind in publishing the new episode because they changed the video editor and I couldn't figure out how to work it last week and I gave up. And so I should really get on to uploading that too, because it's been a couple of months. But yeah, that's at Iron Fist Podcast, and we're just covering the John Ostrander 90s Heroes for Hire run, and we'll be covering probably the new Luke Cage series coming out. And yeah, Superman is, we have a bunch of guests. It's basically me and a guest. Like, it's the Super Friends period, so if anyone ever wants to come on, send us a message, or if there's something people want to cover, send us a message, or send me a message. And yeah, see what I can do.
Yeah, right. Because his former co-host is now addicted to the Marvel Snap. So
sounds like a plan, Jan.
Ray was on recently for a cruise ship murder mystery. And
he's always busy, Connor, until you're covering something that interests him. Then he's like, I got time. Yeah, he puts that Marvel Snap down.
That was him doing me a solid, to be fair. I needed someone to come on real quick, and he said he would. So, but in that issue, Superman gave Jack Ryder a sunburn with his heat vision.
Oh, I remember that.
Jack Ryder annoyed him.
Yeah, that was like from the 2000s, right? Yeah, I remember that issue. Yeah,
Jack Ryder annoyed him, and he's just like. If that came out today, people would go mental.
Oh yeah,
they would be like, "This is," and it was pretty dumb, but it was funny.
All right, and if this show isn't enough and LSK isn't enough, Tyler, where's another Superman show people can listen to?
I don't know. This one I know called Krypton Report. Like, yeah, that's the one I've heard of.
Yeah, that one you're on, and Mr. James Cole. Remember with the Mr. on it?
And that thing above my head over here in the background.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, with Mr. James Cole, he couldn't be here tonight, folks, because he's out stopping crime.
No, he's bench pressing the time stream.
He actually gave Atlas a break this weekend. So.
Is he trying to change the ending to? Well, no, the joke's gone because I couldn't remember the name of the comic. So.
Mr. James Cole, so tough he makes Chuck Norris pee his pants.
Chuck Norris. We would do that sometimes to cheer James up. We would just go find Chuck Norris facts and just take Chuck Norris's name off and just explode his messages and then make up our own as we went.
So yeah, check out Krypton Report. All right, I'm going to do some of the Capes plugs before you, Justin, because you have 50 million plugs. All right. Yeah, you can, remember, kids, yeah, you can send us all your thoughts on this story, all the other Marvel and DC stuff we do. Oh yeah, this is the last episode of the year because we record these ahead. So yeah, so this will be the last one of the year. So hold on, let me open this real quick. So we usually tell them what we're doing next. Oh yeah, to start the year, we're going to do Adventures of Superman 431 and Superman Annual 1.
Annual,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the second
Annual.
episode for January will be Superman 9 and 10. 10's the one where, we find out why the heat vision's running amok. And then I believe number 9 is, I'll dumb it down for you, Ray. It's the appearance of Hee Hee Ha Ha Man.
Sweet.
Because he likes no mention of anything you-know-who. Yeah. All right, so send us your thoughts, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And again, find episodes, social media, merchandise, and the link to our Patreon. Please subscribe. Go to tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. All right, now for this, Justin. I'll do half of them. All right. You can find Justin here twice a month on Electric Mullet. You can find him once.
Gamma charged, right? Gamma charged.
Yeah. Wait. I'm doing the stuff I do with him. Hold on.
We're going to beat him to it, so he has nothing left to
Oh,
say.
that's
We're
true.
gonna say it.
Here, Electric Mullet twice a month. The last week of every month on We Are the Night. Sorry, Ray. The Batman Podcast. Yes, we're going to talk. We talk Azrael. And then every week over on the other feed on Marvel Tales, where we cover a different Marvel story every week.
Every week. Yeah.
That's right. All right, and now what else does he do, Tyler?
Gamma charged.
The strongest Hulk podcast there is.
That's right.
It's
That's
all about
twice
that
a
green
month.
guy who gets angry.
That's right. And sometimes She-Hulk. We talk about her.
Green
And
people.
That's right. That's twice a month. And also, me and Russell are joined by Ray, the High Priest of Khonshu and an addict of Marble Snap himself, and our pal Sparky over on Predator and Prey, the Yusha podcast. We talk
that's the one we
about
forgot.
Fox's Predator twice a month. And also the Demon podcast, Gone the Form of Man, the Etrigan podcast. Me and Russell are going back to Jack Kirby's Demon series of the 1970s and covering the whole thing, having a hell of a time with it. And also, the Lost Library of Legends is my solo podcast dedicated to the undiscovered and forgotten comic book series of the last 40 or so years. Scream at!
I told you, just from the spelling, it's Predator and P-Ray, because Ray's on that
P-Ray.
show. P-Ray.
That's right.
Yeah, put down the Marvel Snap, Ray. He hates I get the name wrong, but I think Marvel Snap just sounds funnier. All right, kids, thank you for joining us. Connor, again, thank you for joining us. This was a blast.
Thank you, Connor.
Thanks for having me. It was lots of fun. It's been ages.
Yes. I mean, you're welcome on anytime. I can even send you the list of the stuff what we're going to do in 2024.
Yeah, sure.
As
Awesome.
no one can replace Mr. James Cole, but it was nice having you here.
No, but I tried to get him to pop up. I told him, I said, James. He's like, I haven't read all the books. So it doesn't matter. Just pop up. I'm like, you're smart enough and you can read as we're talking and just kind of make comments about stuff. Like,
Yep.
just join us.
Is that what you were doing?
I always have it. I'm always reviewing it as I go.
That's why he's having trouble telling Superman and Superboy apart. All right, kids, come back next time for the truth, justice, and the mullet way.